Who goes home with 1 million naira? We'll find out at the end of the debate session today. But if you're ready, we're ready. We've got a full studio. We've got some of our sponsors in the building with us. We're excited to have them in the studio with us. Hamzat Lawa, who is giving us the prize money of 1 million naira. Well, he's in here at the moment. He's the founder of Connected Development, also the CEO and the founder of Follow the Money. He's a Malala Fund advocate and a girl child education activist. He gave us the prize money. Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank. I'm surprised they're not here because they have been ready since Thursday for the final. So they'll be joining us any moment. They've been creating wealth and shelter for 20 years with presence in the federal capital in Lagos, Nasarawa, and Taraba State. And 313 Bureau de Change. I got words that he's gone for Hajj, but at least he has sent the money. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then we've got also with us here, Collier Angel isn't here yet. Collier Angel Nigerian Limited. They've given us consolation prizes of telephone to hand out to all participants of the debate. And Happiness Computers also giving us some consolation prize. But we have some of our sponsors who are in the building and in the studio and will be watching the entire debate with us. We're super excited and grateful that they made our time from their very tight schedule to be in the studio with us. And maybe
Yes,
start off
indeed.
with that.
All right, a special thank you to our representatives from Number One Hotel. We have Haga, Jessica, and John Oteta. Good to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We also have Creative Fingers, Cakes and Bites. The boss herself, who has been ensuring that we are receiving the most amazing refreshments. We have something special for her in addition to.
She brought in she brought in the cake.
Yes.
So the winner of the debate will go home with a very good-looking cake.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shalakwe Bamijoko, and thank you for being here this afternoon. From 3J's Hotels and Apartments, we have two representatives here. Godwin O'Hare is here with us. Welcome, sir. As well as Faith Ben. Good to have you here.
3J's partnered with us for season 1 and they came through for us in season 2. Thank you very much for the partnership from last year to this moment. I hope when we come knocking next time, it's not like we're tired of partnering with you. All right, so our partners are here. Our judges are in the green room. We've got Majid Dahiru. He's a researcher, columnist, and the tech team lead of Luke Stera Leadership Foundation. Irene Bangwell is an educator, a girl child advocate, and she's the co-founder of NOSC 100 Naira a Day School in Kuje, a school that looks out for indigent children and ensure that no one is left behind. They all get an education with just 100 naira every single day. And then we have our senior editor, Fidel Castro, who is also in the green room as our judge. We've got Olivia Osai she's an educator, yeah? And from the Abuja Diction Society, Olivia Osai is in the studio with us. Hi, Olivia.
Hello, Kimberly.
All right.
Happy to be here today.
Yes.
Excited for the finals.
Indeed. We all are excited for the finals. Moses Akpoko says, can we see the sponsors, please? You want to sponsor our sponsors? Once in a while, the camera will scan through and you get to see their faces when I show you they're in the studio. So my radio has been on since 3 p.m. and yes, we're finally ready. Can't wait for the debate to begin. All smiling faces in the studio. Thank God it's Friday. We see the post up. So check us out on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. We're on Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. You see the behind the scene drama and excitement on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Abuja. And yes, you get to vote on Twitter at Nigeria Info ABJ. All right, Abuja, if you're ready, let's start off with the third place debate. And two amazing debaters who show that indeed they are incredible from the start of the debate to this very moment. But you know how it is. It gets very fierce and you might just have a bad day and it affects your score that day. But they are here for the third place and they are comfortably seated. Oh, just so you know, I'm Kimberly and the delectable Somi is here as our
timekeeper.
All right.
Yes.
So we've got two debaters here and for the third place battle. And they'll be looking at the motion. Globalization is eroding indigenous cultures. Is that the topics both of you have?
Yes, ma'am.
All right then. So we've got Anthony OLUWADAMILOLA FAVOUR from Government Science Secondary School, Piakasa, Maitama. She's 15. Anthony Damilola, you're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we've got CHIKWERE RUTH from Government Science Secondary School, Tungamaje. She's also 15. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You ladies, smile a little. Is it the tension? Is it nerves?
No, there's no tension.
I believe you. All right, and so no tension, she said, and they are ready to go. And we handed out a side for you to prep on, which is something different from what we normally do. So who supports the motion?
I do.
Anthony supports the motion. And CHIKWERE, you beg to differ.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so 3 minutes for your presentation, 3 minutes for your rebuttal, 3 minutes for your closing. And if there's a tie, we'll give you another 3 minutes for a playoff. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, take a sip, breathe in and out.
We will start all round with Anthony Damilola FAVOUR, seeing you're supporting it. So all of the rounds will start with you. Supporting the motion that globalization is eroding indigenous culture. Here we go.
All right then, Anthony, OLUWADAMILOLA FAVOUR. Your time starts now.
This is a continent where children don't even know how to pronounce their own name. From CHIKWERE to Chi Baby, claiming to be a Gen Z. Pounded yam is now replaced with burgers and fries, and ashoke for mini skirts and jeans. It is I bid a good day to my lovely judges, adep timekeeper, moderator, co-debater, and audience. I remain Anthony OLUWADAMILOLA of Government Science Secondary School, Maitama, and today I stand in proposition to the subject that says globalization is eroding indigenous cultures. And with the following point, I start to argue: language loss, a cultural death. Do you know that before colonization, Nigeria had over 500 beautiful, diverse languages born of its own history, identity, and wisdom of its own people? But since the introduction of English as an official language, our cultures are now dying. According to the UNESCO, cultures and languages like the Aizon, Eshan, and Ogbi are gradually being hidden. Secondly, traditional attires are now being replaced by Western fashion. Today is only you wear the Iru, Buba, Ashoke, and Isiagu only to occasional activities. But your Western dressing like the t-shirt, suit, and skirts are only being worn to dominate our daily dressing. Global fashion brands are set to overshadow our local textile industry. Take, for instance, the declining of our local Ashoke weaving industry. This goes to say our cultural displacement. Third, Western food eroding indigenous cuisine. Globalization is flooding Nigeria with Western food chains like the KFC and the Domino's. Indigenous foods are dying. Cool foods like the jello fries, eba, moi moi are now being replaced with burgers and fries. According to the DMAR, National Institute of Medical Research of 2022 survey, says that these Western foods are fueling sicknesses and diseases such as the obesity, diabetes, and so much more. This goes to show us our cultural mismanagement. Moving on to Western media dominance. Nollywood, which is supposed to be a means of selling the Nigerian narrative, is now being used to push out to say the Western narrative. According to the 2022 report of the UNESCO, 60% of Nigerians would rather digest foreign content over local production. In addition, youth identity crisis. African Development Bank says 65% of these Nigerians would choose Western life over our own. You see them imbibing Western mannerisms, greeting, value, and even the way they speak out of the way they choose. Do you know that 40% of our dear Nigerians, 40% of Africans do not even know how to speak their own language? This is sadly disheartening. In a conclusion, Western education undermines indigenous knowledges. Western education undermines indigenous knowledges. Indigenous knowledge systems like the oral means and the herbal means of sharing knowledge are now being termed and dismissed as unscientific because we do not have any basis of where they come from. Take, for instance, our local skills like the bead making, weaving, and even cultural cabins have gone into extinction because of the way they are being seen as non-scientific in this our cultural days. This is where globalization, if we not stand to take it forward, we will be losing much. Thank you.
All right, Anthony OLUWADAMILOLA FAVOUR there has given her opening presentation. CHIKWERE RUTH, are you ready for yours?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, CHIKWERE, your time starts now.
According to Nick Antonio, globalization is a bridge that connects culture and not a bulldozer that destroys them. Good afternoon, the chairman, panel of judges, timekeeper, co-debater, listeners, and viewers all over the globe. My name is CHIKWERE RUTH, a student of Government Science Secondary School, Tungamaji, and I'm here to oppose the motion that states globalization is eroding indigenous cultures. If we are to face reality, many indigenous cultures of today have worked hand in hand with globalization to share their cultures, traditions, and values with the world. Today we are discussing a topic that has sparked intense debate among individuals, policymakers, and the general public, and is left for us to accept reality. I support my stand with the following point. Firstly, globalization equips indigenous cultures with resources, solidarity, and visibility to succeed in the 21st century. The real threat isn't globalization. The real threat is the lack of equitable access to its benefits. Look at Nigerian fashion that has gone worldwide. Do you know that Lisa Folawiyo, Duro Lowo, and Makio, they've all gone wide due to their fashion set, due to our Nigerian fashion. That's the power of globalization. Let's even talk about the Nigerian dishes. I heard that the person who won the Taste of Africa in London made Nigerian jollof rice and suya. Yes, they're embracing our culture. That's the power of globalization. Art has also gone worldwide. With arts such as Yinka Shoibe, they've gone worldwide. That is the power of globalization. Furthermore, look at the revival of lost Adire fabric. Adire fabric was lost during the pre-globalization era, and now it has been brought back due to the effect of globalization. Let's think things through. Cultures don't die when they adapt, they die when they are forgotten. Our culture is the most adaptable to our modern technologies. Okay, in 2020 and 2023, Nigerian English, our indigenous languages, were added to the dictionary. Haven't you heard that words like Owambe, Oyibo, they've been added into the English dictionary to show that they value our culture and tradition. Why? Due to the effect of globalization. Furthermore, international tourism. Look at our international tourism. It has made tourists to experience our tradition in different parts of the world. I hear the tourism market has grown by 15% annually due to the effect of globalization. Let's talk about Calabar. Look at Calabar, their Calabar festival. This has made tourists from different parts of the world to participate in it. Why? Because of globalization. Furthermore, the platform accused for homogenization is the reason why a Quencha's grandmother weaving tutorial video goes viral. The reason behind the lying cause of the loss of indigenous languages is not globalization. Globalization is not a homogenization of cultures. Rather, it is a celebration of diversity. In conclusion, globalization isn't a one-way street where Western cultures dominate and indigenous languages are swept off. It is a two-way street where modern technologies collaborate with indigenous cultures to foster cultural growth. Thank you.
All right, CHIKWERE Masi Ruth there with her opening presentation, and the ladies will now get to the next round of the debate, which is the rebuttal. We're going to find out how much of their opponent's points they can take on and counter in the rebuttal. So, OLUWADAMILOLA Favour,
Yes, ma'am.
you would go next for your rebuttal.
And your time starts now.
Still standing on existing protocols, I remain damning. My dear opponent or co-debater said bridge that connects culture. My dear lovely RUTH, that is false. Rather, it breaks them. My dear opponent, you mentioned globalization equips culture with various resources. Where and how? State a reasonable evidence that shows us that this your claim is being propagated well. Globalization brings cultural and diversified divides that breaks homes, hearts, and even children knowledgeable impact in our world today. My opponent mentioned Nigerian dishes, but how come Western food chains like the KFC, Domino's impact our Western food, impact our African food chains, making them more populous? Why would you rather go to a food shop, ask for rice and stew instead of akpu ati ewedu, instead of akara and pap? This is trying to say that globalization is dismantling our own culture. My dear opponent, you mentioned globalization, technological advancement makes globalization move forward. My dear, globalization dies through technology. You also mentioned the dictionary about the fact that O and B is being included. Give me one dictionary that is being used. Give me a dictionary that is being propagated. How many of these people, take for instance the Duolingo, how many people use this Duolingo to search for Yoruba, Igbo and Hausa? It's not even possible because the main official languages are what are being used, from English to Spanish, Mandarin, and even French. You can never see. Even the whole 74 million population on the Duolingo only uses this for these main official languages. You cannot see. Only less than 1 million people still use this Duolingo for these cultural effects. You made mention of international tourism. International tourism. How? Where? In which country? We are only using this for our own personal profit. You will never go there. You only see it for sight attraction. You don't bring back that aura, that essence that was brought by our ancestors into those cultural places. They use it to make funds. This is a government. You also made mention that the religious. Do you know that in our present day that there's a disregard of African tradition and religion? You will go being propagated by churches, even in the church that you are making mention about. You will never see them speak through mouth, propagating our oral tradition. You are being using phones to propagate the gospel. You will never feel the spirit there. Moving on to African Western religion, Western globalization promotes individualism rather than African cooperation. Remember those saying that once you train a child, everybody trains that child. But today in our present Africa, we promote nuclear family systems rather than training a child globally. These are the harms that has been brought to us via this globalization. You cannot come and tell me that globalization is moving us forward. That is a big lie, because according to everything that's been, even 60% of the UNESCO's report that says that Nigerians would rather live a foreign life rather than to stay in our culture. Then tell me how this is globalization moving forward. My opponent says art gone wild. This doesn't imply sustainable development. Thank you.
All right, the rebuttal round. Anthony Damilola Favor started off. We'll get to hear the rebuttal from CHIKWERE NMASI Ruth.
Ruth, are you ready?
Yes,
your time starts now.
All protocols duly observed. I overheard you saying, mispronouncing my name like Chi-Baby. Let me tell you something. It is ignorance that make people to change the pronunciation of their names, not globalization. You talk about language laws. That was during pre-globalization era, not now that globalization has made things simple and easier for us. You talk about Western dresses. We have created a day for we to wear our cultural attire to beautify ourselves. That is the power of globalization. We don't need to wear it every day to show that it has eroded. Globalization has not eroded our indigenous cultures. Furthermore, you said indigenous food are actually going into extinction. That's false, because our local diet has gone viral, not even in our country but to other countries. You need to face the truth, face reality, and stop talking based on misguided facts. Furthermore, youth identity. But are you aware that Igbos in Germany, the same day we celebrate Union Festival here, it's the same day they celebrate theirs there? That's the power of globalization. You said bead making has gone into extinction. That's false. Haven't you heard the mass size of Kenya that sued Amazon for selling their knocked-off bead products? Through this, they now have to use globalization means to sell their authentic bead. Through this, they used globalization. Furthermore, we farm rice and we have every right to eat it. We have cultural food, and that's the reason why we eat it. You saying we go to a cafeteria and ask for rice, that's wrong, because people have what they want to eat at various times. You don't eat one food every day. Balanced diet, my dear. Oxford Dictionary said I should tell you a dictionary that has added this English into it. 30% of the words in Oxford, 30% of the words in Oxford Dictionary are indigenous Nigerian languages. They now underscore the underlying reason why our culture needs to go viral. In Nigeria, tourism has generated revenue of 168 million naira. Think this through, my lovely opponent. This is the particular place where I got it wrong, that our culture is not spreading. Universities abroad offer courses such as Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. Are you even aware that BBC News now they have started to broadcast in Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba? We have BBC Hausa, BBC Igbo, and BBC Yoruba. That's the power of globalization. Homogenization of cultures it don't exist in this globalization era. Think what you say through and don't just decide based on what you feel. Don't use your sentimental feelings to decide for our nation. Our nation, Nigeria, our world globally, has used globalization to promote indigenous cultures and not to bring them down to a zero level. Indigenous cultures, our norms, they are ours. Nobody can take what is an African's... Like, when is Africa, and nothing can stop us from being Africa. Thank you.
All right, so we're done with the second round. We will get to hear the final presentation from them, which is in their closing. Let's see how much they have left to present today. Remember, we have 3 judges and each of these rounds carries its own mark. So don't think you performed great and downplay the next round. You have 3 minutes each for your closing, and Anthony OLUWADAMILOLA, you're up next.
Your time starts now.
Still standing on existing protocols, I remain Damilola. My dear opponent, let us tie everything you said into our bag, shall we? Language losses. My dear, how come we have 40% of the world's language being forgotten and run into extinction? That is a very valuable fact. We don't need to wear, you made mention of the fact that we don't need to wear our cultural attires. That means our culture would have been forgotten long time ago. You also made mention that diets going viral. I'm speaking on to misguided facts, right? How come that this, I will still mention, repetition for emphasis, dominance are being emphasized. You also made mention that for balanced diet. How? For balanced diet. Nigerian delicacies like the afang soup, the ewedu ati eba, they offer more balanced diet than the natural food, that the Western food that you talk about. You also made mention, I also want to add to that balanced diet the fact that it also adds various diseases and sicknesses. Ignorance due to no lack of fact making. Then produce, give me your own facts, because you said diets are going viral. I did not hear a valid fact and a reasonable claim and evidence to the fact that our diets are going viral. Rather, we are imbibing somebody else's culture, something that we do not know. This is a fact that we are wearing the cloak of other people's religions. Let us take it. Let us make this clear. Let us not talk, let us not cloak this in onto lies. Globalization is a teeth biting so deep into Africa, but yet we watch it slip through our fingers. Back in those days when children would sit under the moonlight, listening to elders for stories, but today we are replacing it for cartoons on screens. Or the fact that 50% of Nigerians do not even know how to speak their own language freely. Or the fact that you look onto the brighter day, Ashoke and all RUTH, we pushed aside, replaced with jeans and even skirts. Or the fact that our foods are replaced with burgers and fries. This is Nigeria, this is our Africa, this is our continent we are talking about. A community whereby we have forgotten about embodying cooperation. But instead, we are here moving around with individualism, thinking we are walking about. What of the fact that we now we propagate TikTok, Instagram, dancing to hip-hop guys. We do not hear good morning, Ekaro, Otutuama. We now hear, what's up, bro? How you doing? These are the kind of things we now hear in our country today. How do you want to tell me that globalization is propagating, is not eroding cultural decisions in our daily lives? This is a lie. If you want to make Nigeria better, if you want to make Africa better, let us stand up. Let us rise to do greater things. If you don't do something today, you become nothing tomorrow. If you don't stand up to save our African souls, we do nothing tomorrow. This is our country we're talking about. Let us stop talking on misguided facts and stand up to do something that is meant to be, instead of trying to cover the whole truth and the whole scenario with lies and fallacies. Thank you.
All right. Anthony OLUWADAMILOLA from Government Science Secondary School, Piakasa Meitama, has put all her cards on the table and finished off with her closing remark. We'll now get to hear from CHIKWERE RUTH, who's got 3 minutes to give her closing also.
CHIKWERE, your time starts now.
Thanks for having me once again. I would have loved to correct the mistakes you made, but I see your facts as something gotten from outdated resources. Moving on with my point, globalization enables indigenous cultures to connect with global audience. It provides indigenous communities with unprecedented platforms such as social media, streaming services, and digital archives. Do you know that groups like the Maori of New Zealand, the Zulus of South Africa, the Efiks of Nigeria have spread their culture and tradition with the use of globalization? Apps like X, Facebook, TikTok, and the rest has been used to spread our Nigerian indigenous cultures through what? Globalization. Let's think this through. Let's weigh the cons and pro and know that Nigeria and our country at large, our globe at large, has not done anything wrong. That globalization has not affected us in any way. Globalization has facilitated the preservation of our local languages. Now, do you know that language documentation and preservation has now been achieved through globalization? Globalization has enabled indigenous communities to record, transcribe, and disseminate their information to a wider audience. Haven't you heard of subtitles? Our indigenous culture. Okay, now do you know that universities are abroad? Universities like Howard University, Florida University they teach Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. Do you know why? Because they want to promote our Nigerian culture. They are embracing our culture through globalization. Furthermore, cultural syncretism. Cultures are not static, they evolve through exchange. There is fusion in our global motifs, our global cinemas, fashions, and music. Let's come to think of the Disney's Moana or the Encanto or the popularity of the Quechua hip hop that portrays mutual enrichment and cultural diversity. Homogenization and our culture. Homogenization has nothing to do with our culture. Our indigenous culture has been helped with globalization and not all this misguided fact you're talking about. African souls are not endangered, rather they are blessed through globalization. An African man can never forget his culture. That is why wherever they go, they always remember home. Auntie Bimbo married Mr. Gates. Do you know that she still speaks her language up to now? Her name has not been forgotten. Why? Because of the effect of globalization. The world is a tapestry, and globalization is the thread that weaves different cultures together. Let's think this through, and let's not act based on what we do not know. This is our country, Nigeria, and it's left for us to say the truth about every single thing happening in here. Globalization has done nothing wrong to our society. Haven't you know that globalization stopped the killing of twins? That's a superstitious tradition in Calabar State. Globalization stopped it. I was not around on the day of the Etikoba Festival, but through globalization, I was able to know what was happening there, and it had made an impact to me. Globalization is the way forward. Thank you.
All right, we just got a closing from CHIKWERE, NMASI, RUTH, and that is it. The judges will be putting the numbers together. However, we do have our Diction judge, Olivia Osai, in the studio with us. Olivia, how much did you write down?
Well, as much as I wrote down some things, I must say that I did collect some stray bullets here and there with that topic. All right, I'll start with you, Damilola. So the word is global. Once more, when you have AL at the end of a word, the A takes a weak sound, so you should say global and not global. Indigenous and not ingenious, like you said. R is the word. OUR, R, and not our. The, they, their. Your TH sound matters a lot. Education and not education. Local. The A in local is also taking a weak sound, so you should say local and not local. Opponent. Through, okay, your TH sound. And the word is development, not development. Just got a 2/3 in your diction. Good luck to you. Yes, over to you, NMASI, RUTH. The word is individual and not individual. The D at the end, at the last syllable, takes the sound J and not D. Individual. Tourism. The word is also modern and not modern. Modern. Observed and not observed. That, not that. Just kept saying that. Through, not true. Okay? When you use your TH sound correctly, you give the right meaning. Revenue and not revenue. Okay? The word is local. The A at the end of local sounds weak. So it's a weak sound. So you should say local and not local. Howard University and not Howard, like you said. Tapestry is the word and not tapestry. Okay? You scored a 2/3 in your diction. It's a tie. The diction.
All right, from the Diction judge, it's a tie, 2/3 each to the debaters here. Let's find out what the judges in the green room have to say. Kasi Uche says, my radio has been on since 3 p.m. Good to know. And Susan Obeya says, hello, ladies. The stage is set and I am shaking. You're not the one collecting the money. Why are you shaking in your boots? I am Prince Glory says, the wonder of our time. I am so impressed with the both debaters. And Uguna China to say, you did 10, say waiting happen. You wait there outside the tens, waiting children, waiting inside go do, okay? She had to stop picking a fight.
All right, over to WhatsApp here. Obedient Man Emeka from NNPC Towers says, good day, Kim, my fellow Nigerians. Wow, today not today because it's going to be a long ride. Thank God I'm here. You can only be at Nigeria Info. If not, please, where else? Mama Amaka, please on your radio and put it on 95.1 because na day they happen. Kim, I'm really impressed. Dami versus CHIKWERE, what a battle. That's from Obedient Man Emeka, NNPC Towers.
Someone says, wow, it feels like Dami brought on her energy this afternoon. Well done to the debaters, says Okasi Uche. I am Prince Glory says, the weather is hot out here, but this lady, they're keeping me cool. Hafsat Maz says, wonderful job, Sami and Kim and the rest of the people out there in the studio. James Uko says, wishing the debaters the very best. Gompil Solomon says, fire all through. Congratulations to whoever win. Someone says, I don't envy the judges. I don't know how to pick out the winners between them. These children are brain. How I wish Nigeria is a country with a working system, says Simeon Cornelius there. And Chidiego says this is fire for fire. Looking at some of the comments we have received so far, there are quite a number of them on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter also. Dami with a passion say, if I die off, it says the tension starts now. I love the little ladies keeping up for Nigeria Info, says Benga GB Soji. And Bright Palm says, what if we have a tie?
What if?
We'll find out. The return officer is here. You may proceed.
Why are you looking so solemn?
All right.
There we go.
We have the verdict, and we'll announce in a bit. We'll determine who gets the 3rd place position and who will get the 4th place position. We'll go on a very, very quick break, and when we return, we'll announce them in the order at which they won. Stay with us.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
1.5 million Naira scholarship alert. Give your child a life-changing academic opportunity. Africa International College, AIC, is awarding an exclusive 1.5 million Naira annual scholarship to the top-performing male and female students in our first entrance examination. Examination date is Saturday, 29th March, 2025. Why choose AIC? It's a top-tier British-Nigerian Christian boarding school. We have a legacy of academic excellence rooted in strong values. We grow in a nurturing environment that shapes leaders, innovators, and global achievers. This prestigious scholarship is only available to students taking the first entrance examination. Don't miss this golden opportunity to unlock excellence. Call or text 08136 350953 or 0906 9056 235. AIC, excellence in learning, leadership, and character.
To the man hustling every day to get his daughter through school. The artisans grinding every day to earn their urgent 2K. To the farmers, scientists, teachers, the doctors who do what they do so we can learn, live, and grow. The entrepreneur with his hustle, waiting for Baba to pick his call. To us Nigerians, doing our best daily to make ends meet. The world is yours. The world is ours. Let's go. Let's grow. Go make a difference. MTN Data.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.